And my YouTube and LinkedIn are live. All right. So, welcome to our Savvy Tax Strategies, our 12 days of Taxmas. We are going live every day in December. And so today we're going to be talking about the complexities of small business taxes. So I'm going to talk about some different things you guys need to understand when it comes to small business taxes. And we are on day 3 of our 12 days of Taxmas. And so you are going to get a special today. If you're on our mailing list, you already got the special. But if you guys are live, you will get the special at the end of this. Or you can visit the link. It's the same link as yesterday. It switches every day. So today is day 3 of 12 days of Taxmas. And you will need a discount code today. So the discount code today is Taxmas3. And so the discount code is going to help you with the purchase that you make today. So let's get started. Who am I? My name is Atia Brown. I am the owner of the Savvy Accountants CPA firm. It's a full-service CPA firm where we are savvy at solving your tax issues. We have a goal to save our community $1 billion in tax savings, and so we want to help you build wealth by reducing the largest expense that you pay, which is taxes. So today we're going to talk about the complexities of small business taxes and how you can navigate through that. And the first thing I want to talk about is understanding that there are different tax forms and requirements. So a lot of times people think that there's one size fits all when it comes to the small business world, and it's just not the case. I have so many people that want to be an LLC because social media told them, or they want to elect S Corp because social media told them. And they don't understand that all of these changes that you do, all of these implications are going to have different tax implications. So you need to understand the tax forms that you need to fill out, and you need to understand what the requirements are. So for instance, we talked about employee versus contractor on one of these lives, and the tax forms are completely different. So a lot of times I hear people saying, I have a 1099 employee. That's not possible. Your employee would be W-2. That would be the tax form that you issue to them. And your contractor would be 1099, and that would be the tax form that you issue to them. So I don't know if that did anything. That was my alarm. So there are different tax forms that you need to be aware of. So when it comes to filing your taxes, I'm going to go over the different tax returns so that you understand that your entity structure matters. How you run your business is going to matter. So if you are a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, you are going to be filing your 1040 tax return, and the business is going to go on a Schedule C. So that is still a part of your 1040. So you do not file a separate business tax return when you're a single member LLC or a sole proprietor, because your 1040 is going to be your tax return that you file, and the Schedule C is a part of that tax return. If you are a partnership, the tax return that you would file is going to be the 1065 tax return. The partnership, all the business information is going to go on that 1065, and then every partner on that partnership is going to get a K1 form. That K1 form is going to now go on your 1040. So if you're a partnership, you actually do have 2 returns to file. And so you need to understand that those are the requirements. If you are an S Corp, you now have to file an 1120S. That 1120S is going to also generate a K1 form. And so the individual who owns that S Corp, they're going to have to file their 1040 with that K1 form that comes from the 1120S. So because the 1065 and the S Corp, the 1120S, because those both generate a K1 form, those are what we call informational tax returns. So the government is going to get all of the information on the tax return, but there's not going to be any tax imposed at the federal level. And that is because the federal level doesn't impose a tax, because the K1 is going to give each member or each partner their tax piece. So if you own 50% of the partnership, you'll get a K1 that's going to be 50% of that total partnership return. And so the taxes are going to be imposed at that 1040 level. So it's going to be the individual level that pays the taxes and gets taxes incurred. Now, if you're a corporation, you will be filing the 1120. The 1120 is a completely separate tax return. It's for the business, and that actually does incur taxes at the federal level. So the 1120 will file taxes and pay taxes that it has to pay. And if you are the owner of that corporation and you have shares, depending on how you got paid, would be determining how you pay taxes. So as you can see, you definitely need to understand that there are different tax forms, and you need to understand the requirements for each of those tax forms. The second thing I want to talk about when it comes to the complexities of small business taxes and understanding how to file them is the importance of tax planning when it comes to your small business taxes. So you guys, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I talk about being proactive when it comes to your taxes. And what that means is not just waiting for tax season to file your return and think that you're going to get savings. You need to be proactive in saying, I want to know how I can reduce the taxes that I'm going to have to pay at the end of the year. So that's going to be tax planning. And I've given the analogy before of compliance is a puzzle. So while there might be a lot of pieces in that puzzle to file your tax return and to make you compliant, we know what the picture looks like because the box is there and it tells you what the picture is going to look like when it's finished. Whereas tax planning is that blank canvas where it's you saying, these are my goals for the year, this is what I want to accomplish, and how can we do that using the tax code to our advantage? So understanding that tax planning is very important when it comes to small business taxes, and knowing what from the tax code you can use in what type of business setting, in business entity structure, that's going to matter, and that's going to add to the complexity of your small business taxes. The third thing I want to talk about when it comes to the complexity of small business taxes is really how changes in your business structure affect your taxes. So if you guys go back to when we talked about different entity structures, and we will do a full live on different entity structures coming up in our daily schedule, but I've talked about it plenty of times. You guys can go back and look at old videos. The entity structure that you're in is going to dictate how you are taxed. So at the beginning of this live, I talked about the different tax returns that you have to file and who pays taxes at those levels. Because of those different tax returns that are filed and who pays taxes, you guys can imagine that switching your entity level, switching your entity type is going to impact your taxes. So if you were a single member LLC and you are filing that 1040 with the Schedule C and you have self-employment tax is not something that's going to be in place if you had an S Corp or C Corporation. So it's just understanding that the different entity types is going to hold different tax implications and taxes that you pay. Remember, we do not only pay income tax. I know that a lot of people hear tax and they automatically assume income tax, but we don't only pay income tax. So you need to be aware of income tax. You need to be aware of payroll taxes, self-employment tax, all of these different taxes. And I did talk about self-employment tax on one of these lives if you guys wanted to go back and look at those. So your business structure is going to further impact the complexity of your small business taxes, and you need to be aware of what your entity type is so that you're making sure that you're doing all of the things that you need to be doing for your business. And the fourth thing I want to talk about when it comes to complexities of small business taxes and how to navigate that is seeking a professional. I know because I'm a professional, it sounds like, well, obviously she's going to say that. But if you guys have been following me for a long time, I have no problem with DIY. I tell people all the time, you can DIY as long as you can. But if anything in your situation changes, make sure you reach out to a professional so that they can help you navigate those changes. Because I don't know if you guys have known, but since we've been dealing with the coronavirus, the pandemic, the Trump tax changes that happened, we've had year after year after year after year of significant tax changes, and that was not the case 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you probably could have got away with saying, I did my tax return last year, nothing changed, nothing's going to change, I could do it the same this year. That was sufficient because there was not a lot of changes that happened in the tax code that dealt with things that you would have to be aware of. But in recent years, we've had complex changes year after year after year. So you want to make sure that you're working with someone who can help you and give you advice on those complex changes. And because I have no issues with DIYers, I tell you all the time, I am here to tell you that you can DIY, just set up a consultation. That doesn't mean that you have to work with a professional all year round and work with them on a retainer basis, but set up a consultation so that you can go through your situation and be aware and kept abreast about all of the changes that are happening. So no, you don't have to always work with a professional on a full-term basis, but at least schedule that consultation so you get the right information. And because today is day 3 of our 12 days of Taxmas, we told you that the code is Taxmas 3, but the code is you can get up to 50% off on our tax prep course. So we have created a course for you for our DIYers who want to prepare their tax return on their own, but you want to do it with the help of a professional who kind of guides you through it. This tax course is going to walk you through the different sections when it comes to your 1040 and your Schedule C and real estate changes that you need to do on your tax return. And so this course is going to walk you through that so that you can ensure that you are doing your tax return correct when you DIY it. It's going to show you kind of the flows of what flows through the tax return so that you know what you should be looking for. And with this discount code TAXMAS3, so TAXMAS3, like the number 3, you'll be able to get that discount. So click the link in our bio, or you guys can send a comment on this or send me a DM with the word TAXMAS or 12 days or something like that. All of the DMs will send you the link to the actual discount today. But this is to tell you that I don't have an issue with DIY. I just want to make sure that you DIY it the correct way. And so TAXMAS 3, our third day of 12 days of TAXMAS, is going to give you that discount code so that you can make sure you're DIYing your tax return the right way. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you put them below this video and I will check them out. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for our next day of daily lives where we are talking all things tax and how you guys can be prepared for tax season and what you need to know about taxes. I hope you guys had a good one. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye. All right.